Hey, what's going on there, fellow delinquents? Mischief here, and I want to get back out on the range. I hadn't done any shooting in a while. I'm starting to go through some withdrawals here. So, first things first, I wanted to reintroduce the two guns that I would trust out of the box and show you the upgrades that I did to them. So, first one being the Glock 45. So, as you can see, I've added a Holosun. This is a 407C, nothing too fancy. I added some 10.8 performance suppressor height sights that barely co-witness, but it is there. And I also added this Vantage Point Armory compensator and surefire combination. That's actually a really good combo right there. I shot a little bit like this, and I would say it changes the recoil from like a Glock 19 to like a Glock 34. It doesn't do much, but it is a little bit of a difference. Anyway, I'm using the Glock MOS plate for this Holosun. I use some thread locker. I don't have to worry about taking the Holosun off because the battery actually changes outside of the sight. So I don't have to worry about that. I can leave it on there. We're going to go ahead and shoot it and see how long that it holds up. And if it starts falling off, I'll let you know, and I'm going to go ahead and replace the optic plate. But for right now, it seems to be doing really well. I've already put some rounds through this, and we're going to do that in a bit. But let's talk about the Beretta first. This is the Beretta M9A1. And as you can see, I replaced the rear sight with a Wilson Combat. I added a Wilson Combat mag guide. I added some, these are VZ grips for the M9 and 92FS. These feel really good. I like these grips. And so up here we got an entirely built Langdon Tactical upper for the M9A1. And we have all of the NP3 coated parts. And we also have this flat face trigger. So this flat face trigger actually breaks really nicely, and on the reset right there, it's like 1911 short. I painted the front setup with some orange high-vis paint from True Bright. However, I'm not very happy with it. It's not very bright. It's actually a really dull orange, and I think that white behind it pops a little bit more than the orange does. We're going to go ahead and shoot it, see how it does, but this is my first experience with this, and I ordered some more paints that I want to also experiment with. I'll let you know how that goes. And finally, we have a 92FS Compact, and this is a true FS. It's actually a safety decocker. This is a Wilson Combat single-sided safety, and as you can see, it does stay in the safe position, and then you have to push it forward. It's very, very low profile, so it's actually kind of a double-edged sword. It's impossible for me to accidentally turn the safety on just by racking it because of how low profile it is. That's great. The problem is, though, is that when I put it on safe, if I have to go take it off safe, it's actually a little bit of a hassle for me to really get in there. And if I have to do it with my left hand, oh, good luck. It's really, really hard. Like, I can barely do it with my trigger finger, and I really have to break my grip. So it's not really ideal for carry unless you have it with the safety already off. And if you want to use that safety on and do some administrative stuff with it, like load it, put one in the chamber, turn the safety off, and then go ahead and put in your holster, that would be perfectly fine for this pistol. This one's a two-tone pistol, and what I don't like about this is that that front sight is really hard to keep track of because you got a stainless steel front sight and this little red dot right here, and that little red dot actually does not pick up very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the rear of the sight black, and I'm going to put a white or orange dot there, and then that right there should solve the problem. Anyway, let's go ahead and do some shooting. So I got some rounds loaded up for this Glock 45, and at 10 yards, I found a little air pistol target, similar to the one that they use in the Olympics. So let's go ahead and try this out. I hear a lot of people tell me that Glocks are not very accurate, so we'll see. I am not going to be shooting an Olympic style one-handed, but I am going to be shooting two-handeds with a red dot, and we're just going to see how tight of a group we can hold at 10 yards. Looks like it's a little bit to the right. Let's go take a look at that real quick. All right, so I have some shots going off to the right a little bit over here. I think this was my first shot. I knew it was outside the black, and there's the ones inside the black. So, I mean, that's 10 yards shooting two-handed with a red dot. And these were like my first shots, and once I started getting dialed in, then yeah, I was actually starting to keep them in the black. So now that we're dialed in a little bit, yeah. Now we're dialed in a little bit. Let's go ahead and put another 10 rounds down, 10 rounds on this group right here, and see if we can hold a tight group. Let's make that dot a little bit brighter. Okay, let's go ahead and try that again. Alright, yep. So, that was my anticipating the recoil right there. Didn't even lock back after the last round. I'm not sure if it's because of this magazine. Can't be. The magazine seems to be doing its job. Let's go take a look. It looked like I was doing good until that last shot right there. Yeah, I was doing pretty good. And then I dropped this one. This is my last shot, and then then I had that really bad anticipation. So maybe I was getting into the groove, and I was kind of letting myself get away from me. So anyway, yeah, there's my accuracy at 10 yards with this particular gun. And there's nothing special about the trigger. I think this is a Glock trigger. That's the Glock factory trigger, and it's not even broken in. Like this gun doesn't even have 300 rounds through it yet. Like maybe like 280 or something. Like I did not put a lot of rounds to this thing, so this is still a fairly brand new gun. The only two upgrades I did to it was the red dot sight and the compensator, and this compensator really does help with accuracy and managing that recoil. It does a pretty good job, and you also get the benefit of a flashlight as well. So I do like this setup, and I think once I put some more rounds to this trigger and get that trigger broken in, it's going to be a really nice trigger. But that's not bad. That's for 10 yards. That's not bad accuracy. Let's go ahead and we're going to grab that Beretta, and let's put some rounds through this bullseye right here. Okay, so now we're at the same 10 yards. We do not have an optic, but we do have all the internal upgrades that gives it a really nice trigger. So let's see if that really nice trigger helps out with our accuracy. Yep. Light primer strike. Oh. Let's see. I don't know. I didn't feel good about that. Let's take a look. I don't know where my point of impact was. Was it? I'm guessing it's all right here. It's all right there. So I'm actually, looks like I'm a little bit to the right. So was I walking all the way? And this must be my group right here. So it looks like I'm still a little bit to the right, which I have this rear sight drifted to the left a little bit. So that's weird. Okay, well, all right, we got the Beretta 92FS compact. Let's go ahead and shoot at that same target. Let's go ahead and shoot at that same target and see what happens. Well, let's try the double action. See if the double action gets that. Yep. Again. So yeah, getting light primer strikes there. I'm wondering if I'm gonna have to go back to the original. Wonder if I'm gonna have to go back to the original Beretta springs, because these D springs are seems to be giving me some light primer strikes. So okay, well let's go ahead and take a look at that target. Looks like we might have done a little bit better. I seem to have been a little bit closer to my point of aim with the 92FS compact. I don't know how many is there, but we definitely see it in the video. I seem to be doing a little bit better with this, and I think part of the reason why is because this gun actually shoots where I'm aiming. So yeah, if you have to Kentucky windage it, it's probably not going to be good. Well, let's go ahead and throw up some IDPA targets and play around with some speed shooting. Alright, we're standing at about 7 yards, and I'm using this Filster holster for the X300, and I'm using it on a G-code mount, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I don't really like it. Problem is, though, it's really floppy, so when I go to draw, it's not great. So let's go ahead, we're going to do a bill drill at 7 yards from the holster and just see how we do. I did 5. Well, let's go ahead and count them. We failed the bill drill. We got one high and right and one low and left. I don't know which one was my first one, but that was in a 213. My first shot was a 123. Okay. And I had one fly high and to the right. That was my first shot too. Yep. I am not doing good today. I am rushing. So that was a 245. I am just rushing today. Alright, so just gonna slow down, try and keep them all in the down 0. Light primer strike. Try that again. All right, so that was a 304. First shot was a 149. And I did not keep them the down 0. I'm aiming way too high. My front sight is actually floating right here. So where I'm looking, I can barely see this line right here. So I'm looking just right here, thinking that the down 0 is right here. It's actually down here. So I should be staring at this 0 right here. Let's try that again. Can we please not have any more duds? Okay. Alright, so I need to be staring at that 0. Alright, I think that was a little bit better. Yeah, that's a lot better. That was a lot better. So my biggest problem is where you're staring is where you're going to be aiming. So I was staring at right here. I should have been staring more down here. That was a 269. First shot was a 152, so my first shot's really slow. 29, 25, a 20, a 22, and a 21. So I started like my speed was inconsistent. Anyway, let's go ahead and pull out the Glock and put out the Glock a little bit over here. See if the red dot actually helps me a little bit. Alright, we're 7 yards. Got the Glock. And we're going to be using that red dot. Alright. Let's see if we do any better. Not really. Let's see. Alright, so I got 3 in the down 0 and I got 3 in the down 1. So, yeah, it's, I wasn't really controlling that recoil very well. That was a 261, so it's actually the same time. Let's go ahead and try that again. Yeah. Well, let's take a look anyway. And it looks like at least one of them was high. Alright. Let's go reload. So, this MOS plate seems to be holding up pretty good, but I haven't put a lot of rounds through it. I am running this pistol pretty fast, but trying to make this work. Let's see. Alright, I think we did it. Might have had one go out. Alright, let's take a look at our time. We had a 243. First shot was a 127. 27, 23, 21, 23, 22. I mean, low 20s, that's not bad for just a stock Glock trigger. That's pretty fast. I could probably put like a 3.5 pound ghost connector in there, and that might lighten up the trigger a little bit so I can manipulate it a little bit faster. But I think that's probably the only thing really holding this pistol back. This compensator is helping a little bit. I think that this compensator is helping, and I think this red dot is helping a lot. Even for like a cheap red dot setup, it's doing really good, and it's helped me a lot better than what the iron sights is doing. So let's go ahead and try that one more time and see what we get. I think that counts. I don't like that. I really don't. It's a 242 again. It took me an extra 1/10 of a second to get my dot, but 26, a 21, and a 19. Okay, 21 and a 20. So yeah, I feel like I cleaned it up a little bit, but I still had this one go a little bit to the left. And yeah, I feel like I'm shooting this better than I'm shooting the Beretta. Okay, so we're gonna start from double action. I guess it kind of fits this holster, so I mean, we're just gonna run it this way. Excuse me while I whip this out. Another light primer strike. That was a 253. My first shot took me a little bit because I didn't get a good grip. Well, let's see if it really is just a light primer strike. Alright, well, this is starting to say something. I think those light double action, those light hammer springs might not be such a great idea. This one's got a light hammer spring, and the M9A1's got a light hammer spring. So with this ammunition, it's not looking too good. Let's try and give the Beretta one more chance, because I was doing good with it. Hey, we finally got 6 off. And I think I might have let a couple of them walk out because I lost my front sight. So first shot was a 173. That was the part that really slowed me down. And we had 290 overall. So we had a 30, 24, 22, 21, and a 20. So, yeah. This pistol can be shot fast. That trigger is really, really nice. But once again, with this particular pistol, I mean, getting light hammer strikes, that's not a good thing. It really isn't. So, I mean, I like shooting the gun. It fits my hand really well. I'm probably going to end up having to put the original hammer spring back because this is just really kind of unacceptable. That hammer spring is just way too light, and we're not getting consistent ignition. So, yeah, let's go ahead and go back and take a look at the pistols one last time. So yeah, I fired another box of this New Republic, and turns out it wasn't the pistol. I actually experienced 5 more light primer strikes, cartridges that just refused to go off, and no matter how many times I pulled that double action trigger pull, just wouldn't go off. So 5 out of 50 rounds. Yeah, 1 in 10. That's not good. So I don't know if I want to buy any more of this New Republic stuff. It's like, if it's going to keep doing that. But this is the stuff I've been using in competition, and I don't know. It's not really reliable ammunition if it keeps doing that. But yeah, as far as these pistols are concerned, in my personal opinion, I think going with the Glock would be your best bet. You can throw a compensator or a flashlight on there. You can throw a red dot on there, and you can just shoot this and focus on your fundamentals. That consistent trigger pull, striker fired action, it's a great option. If you want to go with the Beretta, that's not a bad way to go. It's just that you're going to be spending more time learning that double action trigger to the single action. You're also going to spend time learning the decocker. And also, there's very few aftermarket support for this. I mean, we're lucky that Langdon Tactical is actually investing some time into making these pistols really, really nice. But at the same time, it's not really making me a better shooter. I was shooting the Glock 45 with a couple of aftermarket parts that I just threw on the pistol haphazardly, and I was doing better with this than I was with this Beretta that I have, you know, about $1,000 worth of internal parts added onto it. This 92FS Compact, even this, I felt like I was shooting a little bit better. However, this trigger pull right here, this trigger, I have the Wilson Combat Short Reach trigger on here, and that trigger is not really great. I had just shot a group at 10 yards, and I had pulled the pistol low and to the right. Let me go show you. So, here's the 92FS on the right, here's the M9A1 on the left, and the Compact I was holding a better group. I just chucked these ones low and to the right. With the M9A1, there's my group. It's consistent, but it's a little bit bigger. So, yeah, with these two pistols right here, I mean, I felt like I'm shooting this better, even though it doesn't have the same aftermarket parts in it, like the flat trigger and the MP3 coated parts. This one just has a really nice, short, crisp trigger, the Langdon Tactical trigger bar. So, I mean, if that was the only upgrade to make me better with this particular pistol, then why spend all the money on the MP3 coated parts? I don't get it. So yeah, that's my personal recommendations on upgrading your particular pistol between the Glock and the Beretta. There might be some other upgrades, but I am going to be having a couple of new pistols coming in, hopefully within the month, and then I get to show those ones off as well. I got one more pistol that I would trust out of the box video set up in the near future, but until then, that's basically what I got for you, so make sure you stay out of trouble, and if you can't stay out of trouble, you didn't learn from me. One more.
Meow.